Hey y'all, I'm Kelli Hayes Smith, and this is the Social Takeoff Podcast. This is where travel advisors come for marketing advice that actually makes sense. Not trends, not noise, just real, clear thinking, strong perspective, and building a business that actually works for you. Let's get ready for takeoff. Hey guys, happy Tuesday, and welcome to another episode of the Social Takeoff Podcast. Guys, it's Valentine's week. I almost put on my lover cardigan for all the hearts. And then I have other stuff happening this week. And one of the things is an event at my kid's school for Valentine's. So I'm kind of saving that outfit for then. But I almost threw it on today too. Anyway, so happy Valentine's week. But I don't do themes, so we're not doing any kind of Valentine-y theme. It's super not me to be themey. But so what we are doing, and as you see, I am sitting back down at my desk again. Last week, I was like, it just is so difficult. Like the couch is right here, but then I have to move my computer and set up different cameras. And I found myself that was one of the reasons I was procrastinating recording things, because it felt hard. And I'm like, you teach people to not make creating hard. Why are you making this hard on yourself? So throwing that out and just recording and giving you my best content. This is what we're going to do. So anyway, today we're going to talk about questions. And I think this is a really important topic because I often get like, our ultimate goal by marketing, period, is to get people to book their vacations, right? Dog hair in my mouth. Welcome to my life. Your ultimate goal as a travel agent is you want people to use you to plan their vacations, book their vacations with you. Even though I hate that word, that is like the simplest way to put the goal. And what we're trying to do is we are trying to create content that explains our value, that showcases our expertise, that builds trust with the audience, whether the content is long form like videos and blogs or podcasts, short form like micro videos like TikToks and Reels and YouTube Shorts, content on social media like Facebook and Instagram, email content, whatever it is, the creation of marketing to go out into the world, even showing up in the right places. We need to think about the questions that we are asking people when we talk to them. Not just, this is going to be in a way that you can use it in general, whether it is at a networking event or at a event, like a vendor event, or on social media, in your emails, whatever. So these questions are not really qualifiers, so I don't want you to think about the questions. We're going to talk about 5 different questions. These are not qualifiers. These are not like how I'm going to qualify if someone is in the right space. What I want to do is with these questions is I want to ask them in a way that makes the reader or the listener decide that they need me. They need help. What I'm trying to do is use these questions for them to be ready to buy before I have to say, or ready to book before I have to say, are you ready to book? Right? Like I want them to come to that realization on their own. And these questions are designed to get them there. So these aren't like qualifying questions to see if this is a client that I am going to plan for. These aren't lead generation tricks. So we're not into clickbait here. We're not creating clickbait to get a bunch of people to sign up, and we're going for quantity. And then these are not booking shortcuts. These are real questions that you can utilize in your marketing. And we're going to talk about what the questions are and how to use them. But these are questions that you can use in your marketing that helps them come to the realization they need you. So these are really going to lead a potential client to say they feel understood. We've talked about this a lot, right? The way that they absorb your content, the way that they feel seen and understood. But what this changes is they start They stop just shopping and researching elsewhere and start coming to the realization that they want to work with you, being framed through these questions. And so the first type of question I want to talk about are questions that showcase the real problem, not the one they think they have, right? And I've said this before, sometimes we have to tell people what the problem is because they don't even know what the problem is. But these questions actually help people realize this isn't about where we're going. This is about more than I want to go to Cancun. Who can get me to Cancun? This is about what side of the city do I want to stay on? Does it matter what type of resort I'm staying at? Does it matter? There's so many questions to that. So what we're really doing here is getting them to understand that it's deeper than they think it is. And we can pull from some emotional angles, right? Overwhelm because of, like, let's take that Cancun example. There's so many resorts. Like, Cancun's easy. Like, okay, Cancun, then what? Fear of disappointment, showcasing that they're not all resorts are created equal. Showcasing past trips that missed the mark, right? When people share with you how they were disappointed, not that you planned, obviously, but when they're like, well, I went to Cancun once and it was miserable. I planned Disney. I've shared that before. People used to share with me all the time. We hated it. It was a terrible trip. Yeah, trust me, I can fix that for you, right? And then the pressure to get it right for everyone else. Let's say that this is someone planning a bachelorette trip and they feel the pressure of needing to get it right for the bride and the rest of the wedding party. Or this is a multi-gen trip and they're worried about making sure everybody has something to do. Those types of things. So if we are thinking about questions that work like this is where we are setting up trust. We're setting up trust by kind of pinpointing that the problem is deeper than you think it is. It's not just about the fact that you want to go to Cancun. It's about, there's a lot of other pieces to put together. So some ideas for these questions are, what part of planning this trip feels harder than it should? Okay. So showcasing those, like, there's so many ways to use that, right? Like, we could do a voiceover reel with B-roll. We could do a carousel where literally the hook is planning Cancun feels harder than it should. Here's what you need to know. I mean, like, literally that's the hook. You could also do an entire email series on this. You could pull this question out at a bridal show and say, what part of planning the honeymoon feels harder than it should? Ask them that. Get the response back from them. Maybe this is a question you ask in your stories where you put, the last time you went on a big trip, what part felt harder than it should? Ask them that. See if you can't pull it back, right? Maybe in your email, you're using that as a call to action. Reply to this email and share with me what part of planning your last trip felt harder than it should. This is literally word for word. Another question, what are you trying to protect on this vacation? This is not something that a lot of people, I did a lot of researching on this topic before I wrote this outline. And this is a topic that people don't talk about a lot. What are you trying to protect on this? Obviously, your investment. If this is a big trip, if this is a big investment, they're trying to protect their investment. So that has to be talked about, how you do help protect the investment. Maybe it's your time and you don't want to put more time in planning it than you're going to get to enjoy it. Your energy, right? Your kids' experience. Like, if this is a Disney trip, I want to protect my kids' experience. I want this to be the best it can be for them. Your sanity, especially if it's a multi-gen trip, God help. If it's a big family reunion, right? What are they trying to protect? What went wrong on your last trip that you don't want to repeat? Maybe we're asking people that. Tell me your vacation horror stories and then showcase how you could have helped them. Right? And maybe it's like something like that. It can be a carousel. And maybe going back to the what are you trying to protect? You could break down every single one of those. Are you trying to protect your time when planning this vacation? Here are 5 things you need to know. And you share a little bit of a time saving tip, but how you help in every single one of those, right? What went wrong the last time? That can be a call to action. Maybe you're showcasing horror stories you've seen in Facebook groups. And then what's making this feel stressful instead of exciting? Maybe you are asking, maybe you're sharing things that can feel stressful when planning a vacation. Here's how to make them exciting. Dealing with stress in vacation planning. Here's how to turn that stress into excitement. It's that simple. And that's your hook, but you can use that anywhere. You can use it in emails. That could be a blog topic. It could be a YouTube video. It could be a podcast topic. It could be a carousel. It could be a reel. I think I already said that. It could be an email. You can utilize these in all forms. It doesn't just have to be social media. But this really does signal to the people who are reading it or having this discussion with you in like maybe you are literally sitting at a vendor event and these are like your there's an episode on Gilmore Girls and it's when I think, God bless, if I am wrong, somebody tell me in my DMs that this is the wrong episode. But when Paris starts dating Jamie and they're in DC for that summer event and Jamie asks her out on a date. No, that's not right. No, it's the episode where she's going to go out with Tristan. So it's even earlier than that. But anyway, and she has index cards with talking points on the index cards. Maybe this is you being Paris and these are your conversation points or topics that you have in the back of your head that if you have someone come up to you and the conversation's kind of lulling, you simply say to them, let's say that you're at a family travel event and they're looking at all the things and you're like, let me ask you a question. Last time you went on a family vacation, what felt stressful instead of exciting? What part of that planning process or the travel process felt overwhelming and stressful when you really just wanted it to feel exciting? And that's a conversation point, right? We're qualifying them. What they are, when you give answers to this and when you respond to questions like this, you're really letting the person know you understand what's happening underneath destinations. You understand the process that they need to go through. This is how we start establishing trust. And then we can roll into our second kind of questions. And these are questions that clarify expectations. This is extremely important. When we talk about this, we are not going to talk about resorts or ships or itineraries. When it comes to these expectations, we are literally going to be talking about the expectation for the vacation, both in working with you, but also in what they want. So things I want you to think about here are trade-offs, right? Budget and length of trip. We might be able to save some money by shortening the trip, but we're going to have to be on the go more. So it's not about the resort. It's about what do we want for the trip? What are the priorities? Priorities have to happen in every single trip, right? We are working on Alaska. FYI, I'm going to segue. You may have heard me talk about this, but I will be on a group trip with Wanderlust Campus to Alaska this July, where I will be teaching content creation in destination. This is something that's like I'm super passionate about, is teaching you how to get this content and talk about it from a perspective base. I mean, like we literally can do these questions in destination and really just talk about it. Anyway, if you would like to go on that with me, get in my DMs and I'll send you the link. But we are talking about it because my whole family's going. My 2 boys and my husband are going on this trip, and we will be doing some family stuff as well as the work stuff. And we were talking about excursions the other day. And it's like, okay, what excursions do you want to take? And what excursions What excursions am I going to take? Like, what does the kid want to do? What does the other kid want to do? Like, we have to have priorities. We can't do all the things. We have to have priorities. And so talking through that. So priorities are important, but it's on everything that you go through, whether it's what excursions you want to do, or, what's the priority for this trip? Because if I want this to be a relaxing, restful trip, I can't also go to Disney parks from open to close every day, or that's not restful. So what are those priorities? Who is this trip really for? And that's important. Obviously basics are, are we celebrating someone? Are we celebrating beating cancer? Are we celebrating graduation? Are we celebrating a honeymoon? But also, who needs this vacation the most? What is the emotional outcome of this trip? What do you want to happen? That's another really important thing. Like, what's the goal? Is it reconnection? Is it rest? Is it making memory? Like, what is this about? So the questions that you can think of for this style question is, who needs this vacation the most? That's a really important question to ask. Do you want to come home rested or energized? Like, what do you want from this? What matters more on this trip, flexibility or structure? Fun fact, in our home, I like flexibility. My husband likes structure. Like, my husband and one of my sons really likes a plan and doesn't like the plan to change. Myself and my youngest one like to live in the moment and do whatever. And so you have to talk through that. So what does that look like? That's even a point of content, right? What happens when the family has two different travel styles? How do we work with that? What would make this trip feel like a win? When you get back, what would make this trip feel like a win? What do you want to say about this? How do you want to reflect on this trip? The thing is, and I have said this before and I'll say it again. People don't struggle because they don't know where to go. Nobody's ever been scrolling social media, seen your post of Disney World and said, never thought about taking my 2-year-old to Disney World. Never thought about taking my 5-year-old to Disney World. That's interesting. Maybe we should look into that. No, everybody has thought of that, right? They have an idea of where they want to go. Whether you may help adjust like a cruise line or an itinerary. But when people want to go to Italy, they want to go to Italy. Most of the time they have a pretty clear picture of where they want to go. But they struggle with the idea of what they actually want there, right? We have this idea, I'm going to use Disney World because it's a super easy example. We have this idea of what it's supposed to look like. We have these Pinterest boards and these perfectly beautiful pictures on Instagram of what a Disney trip should look like, with the perfect fireworks view and the perfect balcony view and what else? Beautiful pictures of a kid and a princess and all of these perfect things. So that's what I want, but that's not what you want, because pictures aren't experiences. And so we have to ask questions like this, because this allows you to position yourself as a guide, not just a salesperson. You're not simply selling a pair of shoes and just finding the right ones that fit, right? You are doing a full piece together like style guide of not only do these fit, but these are the ones that'll fit your feet the best, not just the right size. This is not just fitting in the right dates and the right budget, but this is what are your, do you have low arches, high arches? Are you pronating? What are the right, this is exactly made for you. And when we ask questions like this, and when we allow people to see questions like this before they even contact us, we start teaching them that that's how we guide people, because we are understanding at a deeper level. And that is when you start not just being seen as an expert, but seen as necessary. I posted a video the other day, and it was about not calling yourself free, because I can't stand that. But it was about, I said in that you don't want to be seen as an add-on, and an optional add-on at that, you should be seen as necessity. And when you start utilizing questions like this, it becomes more and more obvious that it's a necessity and not just an add-on. So that leads us to the third type of question. These questions, we want to make sure that we do this without shaming people. I will never teach you to create content that feels like shaming. I don't think we should shame potential clients. I don't want to shame people. But we do want to reveal friction. So these are questions that reveal friction, okay? Here's the deal. Good content doesn't just give information. It sparks curiosity. Maybe a little bit of confusion even, okay? So friction points you can pull from. These are just common friction points that we see in the industry. Too many options, decision fatigue, conflicting advice, not knowing what matters. These are just a few, but you have friction points. These are what we also have called pain points before, right? So when we start looking at it like this, the goal is to, when we use content like this, when we talk about questions like this, the goal is to go from I just need more time to I need guidance. I don't just need to research more. I need someone to help me. And so some questions we could do with things like this right now are, what decision are you avoiding right now? Where are you second guessing yourself? What part of this feels harder than it should? We've already mentioned that one, but still. What have you researched to death and still don't feel clear on? These questions are how we start showcasing that, you know what, you still have doubt. Like, you have researched every ship in the celebrity cruise line fleet, and you still are not sure which one you would rather be on, right? This is a bridge that you don't have to pitch yourself, but it's obvious. So let's go to the what decision are you avoiding right now? Okay. I don't know about anybody else, but I am a procrastinator to the nth degree. I do my best work right before. I'm sure that is undiagnosed ADHD. Okay. Sure, that is undiagnosed ADHD and a whole lot of anxiety. But I do think I do my best work right before, but it also often in other situations when I need to do something, it leads me to make rash decisions that not just are not well thought out, but that I am forced into because I've waited so long to make the decision, right? A lot of my options are gone. So what decision are you avoiding right now? Are you avoiding putting down a deposit on this summer's vacation because you still have questions and you're afraid to ask? Here's what you need to know. Like, things like that are really, that's speaking to real people, because they will see there are more people like me in the world than just me. I have no doubt. Where are you second guessing yourself? Do you think you want to go to an all-inclusive resort, but you're still second guessing if it should be a cruise instead? Here's what you should know. So we're just kind of pulling from these questions that identify and call out this friction that they already know they have, right? They know it's there. They've just not said it out loud. And so you're having them kind of say it out loud to themselves and reveal that friction, and that becomes a bridge that you don't have to pitch yourself. It's like, this is just logical. Then we need to reframe value. So the next one is questions that reframe value. We want to go away from price. Okay. We're always going to reframe away from price and toward support. So the questions like this, they're going to help people qualify, if you will, but like verbalize, I guess is a better word, why help matters. Okay. So the things that you can explore on this one are your mental load, the risk, like we said, protecting your investment, advocacy, really speaking up, showcasing the way that you speak up, and peace of mind. So questions I want you to think of in this realm. What would you love to not have to think about on this trip? If something goes sideways, who do you want to handle it? This would be a fun content idea. If you have made it to the 24-minute, 58-second mark, you are about to get a cool content idea. Screen record, putting it in Chat GPT. So you are going to you're going to mock phone call, right? Or maybe it's a mock text, I don't know. But it's where you're going to like ad lib somebody calling you and saying, our flight out of here just got canceled. I need a room for another night. And you're going to be like on the, that Kermit the Frog. God, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry about the hands going crazy. But the Kermit the Frog, like the hands on the keyboard, like going crazy. That's you, right? Like you're handling it. You're getting them a room. Or they have ChatGPT and you screen record literally what it says in ChatGPT. You put it in there and say, I am in Cancun. My flight home just got canceled. I need help. And it's just going to tell you a bunch of people to call. Here's what you should do. It's not going to do anything for you. So on the one side, the client is sitting by the pool drinking another margarita while you're taking care of it and getting him a room. And on the other side, you have ChatGPT telling you, here's who you should go call. If something goes sideways, who do you want handling it? Side by side. Great idea. What would it feel like to have someone double checking everything for you? Maybe this looks like sharing times that you've caught people's passports were expiring before when they were leaving. Where do you want expertise instead of guesswork? All of these you're not having to say, I'm worth it. You're letting them define what support is worth to them. Okay. What is it that you define what the support means to you? I'm not going to tell you I'm worth it. I'm not going to convince you of my value. These are the real things that could happen. What do you want? What does that mean from you? And last but not least, we want questions that invite momentum. We want questions that without urgency or scarcity or pressure help people notice where they are. So this is really going to be a smaller group of people, but an important group of people, right? So we're focusing on these angles: decision clarity, emotional readiness, and mental bandwidth. Okay. So your questions that we're going to ask on things like these are your calls to action. These are your backstory slides. These are the things we do in the caption. Are you still exploring, or are you ready to shape a real plan? What would you need to feel true for you to move forward? Do you want more options, or do you want a clearer direction? What's the next right step for you right now? You are giving permission for both answers. Now, this is not content for a sales call. Okay. In a sales call, when I am pitching an itinerary, I am not going to say, so are you still exploring? Are you ready for this? No, this is not where I'm doing this. This is where I am asking people, as my father would say, to poop or get off the pot, right? Like literally in that moment, on socials, in email, am I going to take the next step? I'm grouping people in two sections, right? And this is going to group them in the content that matters to them going forward. This actually does build trust, because they are not feeling not just trapped and pressure packed. Like there was a study done, I don't know, several years ago over calls to action. And people actually converted higher on non-sales calls to action because they didn't like to be told to buy now, but they bought when they didn't feel pressured into buying. It does actually move people faster when you give them the power and the freedom to choose. So if we look at this, I'm going to give you one content topic and 5 different ways that you can speak about it, okay? We're going to do a family cruise for first-time cruisers, okay? And we're going to break that into pieces. So we're going to do a reel asking one emotional question, a carousel walking through the expectations, a story poll around their friction, a caption reframing value, and a call to action post inviting readiness. That we can take that and break that up into all of these questions that we just did. And now we're helping people choose to move forward on their own just by being able to get them to answer the questions that we know move them through this process. So people aren't going to book with you because you've convinced them. They need clarity. They need to feel clear. They need to feel understood. They need to feel seen. We've talked about this, but your marketing job in your travel business is not to explain travel. We need them to understand themselves and understand why they need us, but they can't understand why they need us without understanding themselves. And so this purpose of this is to ask them questions that they are only answering within their own brains that pinpoint what we want them to see in our business, right? Here's the other thing. If they're answering questions about value like that and we are not part of that, then I don't want them to reach out. It's fine. And so we are also kind of limiting or self-limiting and getting the right people out of this. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. As always, I would love to have you in my DMs telling me what you thought. And I look forward to seeing y'all again next week. Same bat channel, same back place for another episode of the Social Takeoff Podcast. Have a great day, y'all. I'll see you soon. Bye. If this episode helped you think differently, that's the whole point. You can find more support inside Wonderlust Campus or come hang out with me on Instagram. Thanks for spending time with me. I'll see y'all next week.